Happy Monday, everyone. I'm your host for today's video, Kyle Lewis. We've now passed the halfway point with 3 episodes left in Season 3, and in this video, I'm going to break down Serakh's awesome backstory and explain all of the genres that we saw throughout the episode. The episode opens with Serakh narrating his memory. I thought it was interesting that during Serakh's memories, the voiceover was him talking to Solomon and Rehoboam. He discusses his goal of building a god. This is an interesting parallel to one of Jonathan Nolan's other works, Person of Interest, where we have Root, a human that can communicate to a godlike AI called the Machine through a conical implant. Serakh is then meeting with the president of Brazil, and he says that he put him in office. We see Serakh in the flesh, confirming that he is in fact real, and not just an avatar of Rehoboam. Serakh is instead the author of history by intervening to control things. We also know that there was an assassination in Buenos Aires. Are they related? Did Serakh instill this new leader to squash the unrest that led to the assassination divergence? We see how Serakh and his brother built Rehoboam together and brought in Dempsey, who we find out is in it merely for the money to get data from him. In this scene, we also see Serakh's brother suggesting to kill Dempsey Sr., which Serakh eventually does. It's also fascinating how, like Arnold, Serakh's brother creates a powerful machine and ends up going mad. Unlike Arnold, we find out later that he is not dead, and his brother Serakh has locked him in a glass room where Serakh is apparently experimenting on him because he is an outlier. Serakh claims he didn't fit the world, and the world didn't fit him. Serakh also says that usually the system sends people who are outliers to war as a wood chipper to eat them up, and now we know why Caleb was sent to the military, as he was an outlier. The connection between the re-education centers and the Forge from Season 2, where we saw them testing James Delos, and also the host version of William, is very interesting. William got thrown into the mental institution last week, which is also called Inner Journeys. If we look closely at the tablet here in this scene, we can see that there are perhaps at least 35 other centers just like it. A core theme of the show is that the characters are grappling with the idea of whether they possess free will or not, which in itself is an inner journey. But if these centers are re-educating people so they can be more easily tracked by Rehoboam adjusting their loops, then it clashes with what Serakh wants, which is determinism. When we rejoin Dolores, Caleb, and Liam, they are fleeing from Serakh's assets. This scene is the first time we see Caleb ask Liam to tell me who I am. Liam recoils and replies, "You think I killed your friend?" Then Liam shoots Caleb with genre. Genre, according to Jonathan Nolan, co-creator of the show, is hilariously an homage to, get this, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Meal and Gum Candy. The first trip Caleb experiences from genre is a film noir. The musical score and the black and white scene set the mood perfectly. They end up being in a self-driving car chase, and Dolores seemingly puts them in a precarious situation as a ploy to force Liam to give her his access key. In the next scene, the genre shifts to action as the car chase scene fight rages to the soundtrack of Ride of the Valkyries. When the car stops and Dolores and Caleb are being shot at, the genre shifts again as Caleb gazes distractedly at Dolores and to the theme of love story. Once they meet up with Caleb's RICO workers, Liam hilariously says to Dolores, "You can't be at 2 places at once," which of course she can because she is inside Conalores. Conalores has Bernard with them when he unlocks the system, and it seems like Bernard is still completely oblivious to Dolores' plan. The next genre we see Caleb in the music is Nightclubbing by Iggy Pop and David Bowie. This song was also used in the dark comedy known as Trainspotting. It cuts back to Serakh narrating his memory of exploiting the stock market for Liam Dempsey Sr. Interestingly, the stock graph and the predictive model looks like a decoherent waveform. Episode 6 is titled Decoherence, which has some interesting implications and connections to quantum mechanics, specifically quantum entanglement. I have a video discussing this topic and the next 3 episode titles, so be on the lookout for a new video on Wednesday or Thursday discussing these topics. In the next scene, we get Dolores, Liam, Caleb, Ash, and Giggle on the train part, as Dolores finishes Liam's sentence. Caleb is nearing the end of his trip, and much like a mushroom trip, is reaching the dark part of his trip. Caleb says to Liam, "I would rather live in chaos than in a world controlled by you." The same music is played during a William and Dolores romantic scene in Season 1, plays for just a moment as the camera lingers on Dolores. Then she decides to set everyone's data free, as Bernard says she's sending them off to loops. Speaking of chaos, we get a great instrumental cover of Space Oddity, another David Bowie song, as the world begins to descend into chaos because people see Rehoboam's predictions for their futures. As many other shows have taught us, prophecy can be a dangerous thing, especially when it comes to how prophecies can influence people's decisions about their future. Before blowing himself up, Connelores tells Bernard, "You're the only one we can't replace." To which Bernard replies, "Her plan is starting, I think I'm a part of it." I think a question that we have to start asking is if Bernard has the encryption key to the Valley Beyond. Serac clearly wants it and knows Dolores has it. It would be interesting if Bernard ends up having the code in the end. It's clear he's going to play a big role in what happens in the final 3 episodes of the season, and perhaps this is what Dolores meant. Next, we have a beat scene which is highlighted by the soundtrack movie score for The Shining, bringing Caleb into the final genre of his trip, which is horror. As Liam is dying, Caleb flashes back to being strapped down in a hospital bed in a white suit. As Liam dies, Caleb flashes back to his friend dying, and Liam says, "You did it." Is this a continuation of their earlier conversation in the episode, in which case he is saying, "You think I killed your friend?" He says, "You did it," which is a chilling prospect if Caleb killed his own friend. There's a lot more to Caleb than we know, and I think that is going to be revealed over the next couple of episodes. In these flashes, we see another one of my favorite actors and characters from Person of Interest, Carl Elias, played by Enrico Colantino. He played a pretty significant role in the show, so I expect we may see him pop up over the next few episodes. Liam could also be referring to his money in this situation. "You did it. You stole my money." We know Liam was raised by a man who valued money over everything else, and that grew up into a person with a pretty fascist worldview. Earlier we referenced Serac beating Dempsey Sr.'s face into a plane. That was pretty brutal. And Serac also shot a man ruthlessly in the last episode after getting the information he wanted in a scene with Maeve. It's clear if you're standing in Serac's way, then you're at risk of being killed, or at least re-educated. Finally, we see Dolores and Serac meet. As Dolores walks through Serac's hologram. It's a pretty big power move by Dolores, and you can tell Dolores rattled Serac and that his Rehoboam Doomsday Clock smartwatch is showing that shit is starting to hit the fan. I think there is a strong possibility that Dolores and Caleb are flying to Westworld. Dolores now possesses power in the outside world, so it would make sense for her to return to the other world where she holds some power as well. This whole season is toying with the idea of 2 worlds, so it will be really interesting to see Dolores bring Caleb to Westworld, as Caleb now knows Dolores isn't like other people. And it looks very likely based off the promo trailer for episode 6 that the next episode that these 2 worlds will collide in an epic fashion. I found it very interesting that this is the episode we got to watch on Easter Sunday, as Connelores is the child of Dolores, who views herself as a god. Connelores is simultaneously also Dolores, much like Christ is the Son of God and also God according to Christian theology. Connelores sacrifices himself, blowing himself up because his role has been played out. He saves the other hosts in the same way that Jesus died on the cross because that was his preordained role, to go to his death to save humanity from sin. Interestingly, in Christianity, it was Eve's act of free will and thirst for knowledge that let sin into the world. In contrast, Connelores sets all of the inside data free and gave the people knowledge. This is very similar to the purported consequences of sin in the world. A lot happened in this episode, so it's only fitting we make more videos discussing everything that happened. So let us know what your favorite moments were from the episode. Make sure to share your thoughts, theory, and tinfoil from episode 5 genre in the comment section. I will be featuring some of the awesome comments and Easter eggs y'all post in the comment section in this video on Wednesday. So put anything you would like to see featured in that video in the comment section and put Easter egg beside it if you want to see it featured in the video. A shout out to Bunny for helping with this video. She is a big fan of Westworld and on the Azora Hype content team for Westworld for Season 3. So if you want to message her and chat about Westworld, you can find her on Reddit at Bunnies and Cookies or catch her late night live streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/PrincessBunnyWarrior. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hype and love.